Hi, I've been asked to start doing blogging and video blogging and such as that. First of all, my name is Kristen. I'm a stay-at-home mom of 3 boys and a pastor's daughter and a former psychology student. And I suffer with depression and anxiety. I would say it doesn't define my life, but in many ways it has. At least I allowed it to in the past. For a long time, it ruled my life and I didn't even know what it was. For a long time, my decisions were not necessarily my own. It wasn't like I literally lost my mind or anything like that, but I wasn't me. And it's kind of like if you were or could be in any way on the inside of a tornado or the inside of a hurricane. When the eye of a hurricane is over you, it's calm, relatively calm. And depending on where you're at, you can see the destruction around you. It's like that. When life feels out of control, I guess you could say. Unfortunately, and I hate the term mental illness, but mental health and mental illness are not viewed the same as physical health or physical illness, like diabetes, lupus, or anything like that. It's not a choice, and neither are those. A lot of people will just say, oh, why don't you just get over it? Shrug it off. What happened in the past is in the past. Some people develop mental illness because of genetics. Some physical diseases are through genetics. Some people develop it through circumstance. Some physical ailments through circumstance. But still, it's not viewed the same. People say, oh, I take my happy pills. And I've been guilty of saying that to my children and to other people. Oh, better make sure I go and take my happy pills. Trying to interject humor into it, at the same time trying to take away the seriousness of it or the stigma. There are all kinds of support groups for both. But, when people say, oh, I'm so sorry you have lupus, or you have, leukemia or cancer or diabetes, or, the thousands upon thousands of other physical conditions. It's not that you want pity, but they understand it more. There's not that stigma. There's acceptance. It's more mainstream, talked about. And that's the main thing with mental conditions. It's not talked about widely. It's not as far as being accepted. It's not seen as okay, there's something wrong with you, you're damaged, or you're crazy, and so you're not stable and can't be relied upon. It takes a lot of courage for me, know this, to talk about this and to post it, because it wasn't that I was ever told, but I was raised with, you don't cast your pearls before the swine way of thinking. In other words, you don't tell everybody your business. You don't air your dirty laundry. And maybe it's a southern thing. I have no idea. But you're not alone if you have it. Whether depression or anxiety or bipolar or schizophrenia, there's different tiers. There's tier 1, there's tier 2. There's so many different levels. But we're all in it together. I am lucky enough that I'm able to go to counseling. That my insurance, even though there's copays, will cover it. And will cover my medications for the most part. But not everybody is that lucky or that blessed. And I do count myself blessed. And I do count myself lucky. But not everybody is. And for the most part, my family and friends are accepting. They may not understand, and they may say things, oh, well, you just gotta kind of press on, or, not so much get over it, but when are you going to stop having to go to therapy? When is this going to be over with? You know, I don't know when I'll ever be off the medications. I hope one day. And as far as therapy, you know, I may not have to do it 3 times a week like I'm doing it now. And hopefully it'll be a once every 2 weeks and then once a month type of thing. Kind of like you do with your doctor with any other condition. I do count myself lucky because I'm getting a handle on it now and understanding it more and understanding myself, which helps me not to be so hard on myself. I still can't make up for what I've done in the past, and I cannot make it right. But who can? You know, my choices are my own. And I've got to learn to accept that, work through that. But mainly understand me and be okay with me, my own skin. I guess that's part of the reason why I'm doing this video with no makeup. I haven't even brushed my teeth. I know, TMI. And I will brush my hair. The beauty of having short hair, let me tell you. But I sit out here on my porch on this beautiful day. Yes, the house is a mess, and there's so much that needs to get done. And the porch is a mess because the dogs tore up a cushion. And I had to catch chickens because the dogs were trying to eat them. Again. But those are still blessings. And I guess what's changed for me, even though my circumstances necessarily haven't changed around me, is my perspective. You know, we don't have necessarily the power to choose our lives. As far as what we're born into, circumstances, we don't always have control over that. And those circumstances may change and they may not. They may wax and wane. Who knows? It's kind of like this crazy Louisiana weather we have here. If you don't like it, wait 5 minutes, it'll change. Is the joke around here. But one thing you do have control over, you may not have control over your what you develop and what you don't develop. But you do have control over your perspective of it. You know, we live in such a progressive world, or at least it likes to think it's progressive. If you're homosexual, great. If you're this, that, and thus, great, fantastic. But if you have mental illness, I don't know about that. And yeah, there's a little sarcasm there. But know that you're not alone. And that you do have power as far as what you do about it. And how you view it. And how you view yourself. You know, I'm always telling my 12-year-old, and no, I'm not a perfect parent. You can't control what other people think about you or say about you, but you can control what you think about yourself and what you say about yourself. That when you concentrate so much on what other people are thinking or saying or doing, you're giving them the power over you. And no one should have that much power to consume you in such a way. Same thing can be true and applied to us with mental illness, with mental conditions. And I hate that word mental illness. I don't know how best to classify it. Maybe some of you do. And I would welcome your input, your sage advice and wisdom. But you do have control over your point of view, your POV. It's something I love to talk about, and it's something that I'm finally applying to my own life. I may not be able to change relationships right now, and I can't change the other person. I'm trying to change me and improve upon me through therapy and just soul searching and prayer. And I thank God for the many blessings that I have. And yes, I'm a Christian. I'm a pastor's daughter. I love the Lord with all my heart. But even He, Father God, is not going to force me to change. I have to do it on my own. And part of that is through perspective. Yeah, it may seem like, okay, well, that's kind of a in the wind's advice, you know. But it's true. It's your point of view. You can be happy in a situation, or you can be upset and sad in a situation. You know, like I tell my son with school. He's first year in junior high. He is not liking it. Well, baby, you know what? You still have to do it. You still have to go through it. Even if we homeschooled, which is not possible for our family, unfortunately, at this time. But even if you homeschooled, you'd still be miserable at times. So you got to do it. You got to get through school. Why not be happy about it and be thankful about something? Find something each day about school that you can like or be thankful or at least be okay with. And yeah, it may start with being okay and move to thankful and then move to happiness and then joy and then a love and then maybe a passion. But find something each day and be happy about that. And it's infectious. So each day I stay at home with my children and dogs and animals. And I used to feel trapped and enclosed. And part of that was the depression and then anxiety, and they would feed off each other. I would be so tired that I didn't want to do anything but have that anxiety that, oh my gosh, I need to get everything done. And then I'd try for an hour to get everything done. It was my perspective. I let the diagnosis, I let the circumstances that we're in, I let everything surround me like that hurricane. But you know what? I can change my perspective and I can be happy about something and I can change the way of my thinking, my thought pattern, my internal dialogue. I can change all of that by changing my perspective, starting small with something as simple as smiling about a mess and being thankful for the mess makers and seeing maybe what they thought about when they were making that mess, that they had fun. Okay. And accepting my role and all that. And not stressing over the little things. You see, something else I tell my son, and I know it's already been 12 minutes, but something else I tell my son is this. Give yourself a break because the world isn't. Be kind to yourself because the world, that's not their job. So, change your perspective about yourself. Change your perspective about mental illness. Because those of us who suffer from it, your advice of get over it, it's not helping. You know, it's kind of like a tired mama, working, stay at home or whatever, and telling her, oh, well, just rest when the baby rests. You know what? That may sound sincere, but it isn't really helpful. It isn't. Not when the baby's colicky and doesn't hardly want to rest. That doesn't help. You know. Or just, take it one day at a time. Again, that's helpful. But really think about before you give advice. Change your perspective on mental illness. It's not something we could just get over. If we could, trust me, we would. Because medication and sitting and pouring out your soul for an hour or 3 hours at a time and paying somebody for it, not my idea of fun. It is not fun. Some days are harder than others, and those days really stink horribly. So please, think about it. Mental illness. Since we're so aware of everything else, let's normalize it and be accepting of those of us who have it. Okay? By not making it a big deal. Thank you.